And we're really good at like when we do bicker about something of like, what do we do for our launch party? Who do we want for this? Like, who are our partnerships? What are our pricing? It's like, okay, I see your point of view. I hear you. Like something that my life coach has said is, I hear you, I see you, I love you. And it's just kind of like, I know, right? I just had to say it. It's great. Shout out Jax. But basically it's one of those things where it's kind of like recognizing it, but then like, okay, Jolie, like we got to keep it moving, because if we're just going to sit here and go back and forth, like we have so many bigger issues to climb. And I think that's like we just have always had a really healthy, honest dynamic where it's like almost like very raw. And like Jolie will say absolutely anything to me sometimes. And like my point of view is I'm not offended. Like I know you love me and I know that you're my biggest cheerleader.
Yeah, my fault is I'm brutally honest to the point where maybe I shouldn't be so honest sometimes. So I could be a little offensive, and we're working on that.
It's like daily group therapy. I love it. I'm gonna have to get my hands on this questionnaire for like coworkers and co-collaborators.
No, it's actually great.
Wow.
Yeah, it's important.
I love that. Well, listen, like, if you strip away the RHONY of it all, we've watched Ramona Singer for 13 seasons. Like, underneath all of that, she is a very successful, smart entrepreneur herself. So, like, what advice did she give you, Avery, and you, Jolie? I mean, since you guys are family and best friends, like, what advice did Ramona give you guys?
Yeah, I think that everyone remembers me, and I remember myself the most through RHONY as like that 12-year-old little girl. And as we all know, my mom was a hustler, businesswoman, has built many different things, and it's always been very inspiring for me to see firsthand. And she would always keep me in the conversation of, Avery, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And she's like a mover and shaker and is like always on the phone and like cold calling and is with Jolie and me. And she's like, okay, what are we doing? How are we moving? Like whatever. It's very inspiring. But my mom always said, as we all know, it's very important to make your own money and be financially independent. So if anything happens to you, this is literally, I'm quoting myself right now when I was 12. If anything happens to you in a relationship, you don't have to, depend on anyone. And I think my mom always says that as long as you love what you do, money will come. Money will come. And my mom has always said, Avery, you're on your own path. Don't look left, don't look right, like don't compare yourself to people, because if you told me this path that I've been on makes literally no sense, but it's all led up to this point in me talking to you, being with Jolie.
Yeah. Ramona's really been like an insane supporter of us. I mean, if anyone follows her on Instagram and sees her like parading around Palm Beach, like going up to bachelorettes and Insta storying with them, plugging us, being like, follow Bach Boss, we call her our momager. So she's been super supportive, and she does give great business advice. I mean, the woman's very successful. So I think that in general, she's, been an integral part in us growing the business.
Yes, I can see, like, if you're having a very private like engagement party and you're about to get married in like a year in Palm Beach, and Ramona's walking by and she's like, what is this? And this isn't a game. I could see Bach Boss being represented very well.
Oh yeah.
So it's funny that you say that, because I'm now calling her like our South Florida territory manager. And then soon when she goes to the Hamptons, she's going to be our Hamptons territory manager, because and I told my mom this when we were in Palm Beach and I went to Kachina, there are these brides that are just wearing the veils. They're all in white. It's very obvious. I'm like, these are walking billboards of sales. I literally went up to them both, got their numbers, exchanged their Instagram, got inquiries for their friends, because odds are if they're getting married, someone else is getting married. And yeah, Jolie and I are ruthless. Like that's kind of like we will call it connections, whatever you want. But at the end of the day, if you don't take what you have and what you've learned and really push it to the next level, we're cold calling all these people and just growing and are not afraid to ask for more introductions, because you're continuing to build your Rolodex. One of my like mentors growing up said, your network is your net worth. So that's why I'm always networking, always meeting people, because you never know how they're going to show up for you and when you ever need them down the line.
That's so true. It really is about who you know. But also I love what you just said, and maybe that should be our new tagline, like your ruthless travel friends.
Yeah.
Currently, our tagline is your go-to travel friends that help
Or
you
like your
curate that
besties.
perfect experience. But now we can change it to your ruthless friends.
Yeah, we'll just make it happen.
I
We'll figure
like,
it out.
I love your network is your net worth. I think I'm gonna steal. That's a good
Yeah.
one too.
And it's one of
Oh,
those
yeah.
things, and obviously I recognize like I'm very lucky. I went to a private school my whole life and went to a great university and met a lot of people. But at the end of the day, I met people just saying hi in a coffee shop and then they introduced me to someone else. I got both of my job offers when I was pivoting from finance to tech from cold LinkedIn messaging people and networking. Like my friends refer to me as like the networking queen. And like I own that. But it's not because of who I know or where I was born, right? It's like this inner confidence because at the end of the day, we all have the internet resources and I'm just like ping, 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 making lists of a web. And that's what you got to do. That's, you can't just like sit and like, oh, poor me.
I agree. It's like you have to, I mean, people are always like this and that. I'm like, listen, there's nobody who's successful in business. Like, and again, I had a different company I sold. Like, it's a little bit of luck, but it's called work. Like you get up and you just like, I'm from the Kim Kardashian school of like, get up and work. I am like, that's what, there's no magic to success. It's like, you figure it out and then you have to like actually put in the hours and it's hours and hours and it's like work. It's not always fun.
Totally. I mean, like, and Avery and I have been working our asses off since we started. And like, we know that's what it's going to take. There's so much to do. We're, every night up until 1, 2 in the morning on the phone. And honestly, I don't think anyone else would understand our lingo. Like we'll be stressed over something, knowing we have like 4 itineraries to get back to and partners to respond to and like unopened emails. And we're just like speaking gibberish to each other. Like, did you follow up with this one? Did you do that one? Like, and we just have this little like lingo
we talk really fast. We talk really, really fast.
We learned that. We didn't realize how fast we talk. And then someone said to us, like, you both are such fast talkers. And I don't even think we notice it because we both talk fast. So we're just like, blah, 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 blah.
What about, and this might apply to you too, Jolie, but, like to your point, you were just saying, Avery, like that people say like, oh, it's this whole like nepo baby thing, which, Kaya Gerber just came out and said something, which we'll call a couple like weeks ago. She's like, in Hollywood, like you might get a meeting because of who your parents are. You don't get the job. Like that's, no one's hiring me as an actress because of Cindy Crawford, which is true. And like, look, you're sharing an apartment. Like, obviously, nothing is being handed to you. Might be in the same situation, Jolie, but I think Avery, just because people know your mother, and like, what do you say to people that say that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things in general where everyone will come at you for certain things, and especially growing up in New York City. I mean, I remember I went to this like one night out, and a bunch of kids just got their Goldman Sachs offers for investment banking, and I look at the table, and I knew 10 of the like 16 people that got the offers, and I'm like, well, all of your dads are partners, and it's like part of life, but also all these people are really effing smart. And like, we are very lucky and like, we all recognize that, we all start in different places, but there are some people that have everything given to them and they end up in rehab. They end up and I always say to my core,